Hello and welcome to this edition of Profiles on Pasco. I'm Tambry Lane, Public Information Officer with Pasco County Government, and today we're talking about adopting at Pasco County Animal Services. So I have some special guests here, Andrea and Jessica Moxe. First of all, ladies, thank you so much for being here today. I want to start by having you tell us a little bit about what your job is with the county. Andrea, we'll start with you.
Okay, I'm the education coordinator with Pasco County Animal Services. I go around to different schools, HOAs, Rotary clubs, different places like that, talking about responsible pet ownership, bite prevention. I also plan the events for the shelter and head up the volunteer program as well as promotions and things
All
like
things animal education. Right. And Jessica, what about you?
I'm the adoption, rescue, foster coordinator, so my job is to get everybody out in a positive manner.
It's such an important job, and I want to talk about that a little bit. Can you just give us an idea of how the adoption process works?
Typically people will see an animal on Pet Tango, or they'll come in, and we always recommend you come in and meet the animal. If you have other pets in the home or children in the home, it's best to come in with them so we can all meet together and see if they're going to get along, because you can't just throw somebody into a new environment and expect everybody to get along. And then you put a hold on the animal, and we try to have everybody ready to leave that day, but sometimes the new intakes take a little while, and then you do your adoption process and take your kid home.
So it is a pretty simple process.
Pretty simple. I mean, the hardest part is to make sure that you find the right fit, because it's not just a dog, it's a whole personality that has to fit into the family.
And if you don't find the right fit, then you
you're gonna have
the
problems.
possibility of them coming back.
Right.
And Andrea, that is a huge issue for you guys, overcrowding. Mm-hmm. Can you talk about that a little bit?
We are pretty much always overcrowded. That's why it's so important to spay and neuter your pet or to microchip your pet so that we can get your pet back to you if they do come into the shelter. But a lot of times too, if they come back, I mean, we have to find another home for them and hopefully a better fit for that.
So you kind of have to start that process all over again. And when we were talking before the show, you had mentioned something that I thought was really interesting. Because Pasco County has so many tourists, that has an impact on the shelter too. Can we talk about that a little?
Yeah, we get a lot of snowbirds, I guess is what you call, and with snowbirds come more animals. And that seems to be a very high intake season for us as well.
Okay. And also, it's not just about adopting at Animal Services, it's also about fostering opportunities. So Jessica, can you walk us through that?
We often have during kitten season, we are overflowing with kittens that always need fosters because they don't thrive well in the shelter. Young animals, puppies, kittens don't do well in the shelter. They get sick too easy. With that many animals, there's cooties running around. So we are always needing fosters for puppies and kittens and medical issues.
And so how does that work? If I want to foster, how do I go through that process?
You just come in, fill out an adoption application or a foster application, and typically we'll give you what information you need for this particular pet. Come back every 2 weeks for vaccinations, boosters, whatever. And then if you decide you want to keep the animal, you come back and have it altered, and then we send it home with you, and it's yours. Or if you just want to be a foster parent, you just foster and bring it back. We appreciate that as well.
See, that's the issue that I have, because I'm worried that if I foster, next thing you know, I'm going to have 20 cats at my house.
I have 5 in my tub currently, so I understand.
Do you have that happen a lot, where people foster an animal and decide to adopt it?
Mm-hmm. I feel like quite a few of my best fosters are just people coming in the door, falling in love with this kitty with this sign that says I need to be fostered, and they keep it. And that's great, because you've raised that baby since it was a little baby, and now you've kept it. That's great, rather than just coming in and getting something that is cute and fluffy and you think it's going to work out and you don't know its personality. You've raised this baby.
And sometimes it is a whole litter?
It can be. If we have a mother that's nursing, we ask that you take the mother and the babies. The mother can come back, the rest of the group can come back, and you can keep whichever one you want, obviously.
And what about the time commitment for something like that?
Depends on the age. If it's like a pregnant mama or nursing, we have to keep them out of the shelter until they're about 8 weeks old. So you're looking at up to that mark, and then you can bring them back for altering, and then that's yours.
And if I wanted to foster, can I do that one time, or is it a multiple commitment?
You can do it all. long or small of time as you want. I only want to keep them for a week. I want to keep them the whole 2 months. I can do it over and over and over. We have some people that are just fosters. They'll just keep taking them and bringing them back.
And what about training to be a foster? Is there special care things you might need to learn?
There are, especially with small infant animals, cats and dogs, because it's similar to infants, human infants. You know, you have to burp and feed them and help them go to the bathroom, and it's not easy.
It could be very rewarding if you're an animal lover, though, I would imagine.
And if you have a litter, it's time consuming.
Yeah, I bet. Now, Andrea, there are a lot of fun events that Pasco County Animal Services does throughout the year. Can you talk about some of your more prominent ones?
Sure. On March 19th with Edmore's Auto Plaza, they're doing a huge car show, and all the proceeds and benefits go to Pasco County Animal Services. Also, we have our annual event coming up, which is May 20th, Wolfstock. That event benefits the sick and injured animals that come into the shelter, and it helps us with our Save 90% initiative. So that'll be at the Florida Estates Winery, and usually that's a lot of fun. We have bands and vendors and food and wine tasting. So
Animal Services, I feel like, is kind of out and about all year at different events. How successful are those programs in raising awareness about what you guys do?
Oh, I think they're pretty successful. I mean, we can, depending on the event, hit a lot of people all at once. So it's a great educational opportunity, as well as spreading the word about the shelter. A lot of people don't even know where we're at.
Really?
So, yeah, we're kind of out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, well, dogs and cats, you know, that doesn't attract anybody. No
Not at all.
attention. And I also wanted to talk a little bit about your Facebook page, because you've done wonderful things with that.
Yeah, actually, we've expanded it, I guess, pretty well. We try to get as many of the animals on there as we possibly can, as well as our events coming up and different educational tidbits and stuff like that, trying to keep the community involved with what we're doing.
Okay. And something new, I'm sorry, Jessica, did you
Your
want to add
Instagram page too is booming, constantly getting new followers.
something? Oh, that's awesome.
We just started that, yes. And Jessica has been helping with that a lot.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
that has been wonderful. Yeah.
So something new at Animal Services, cat licensing.
Oh, yes.
So I wanted to talk about that because that, again, that's new in the county. Why is that so important?
Well, it's important that we're able to get the animals back to you. Also, the information that we have on hand, if your animal's been vaccinated or has had its rabies shot, and we have that information right there, that's important too, you know, that we know that the animal is up to date. Also, the money from those tags go to our spay-neuter program or our TNR program, which is a huge help to the community. So,
When you talk about how easy it is to get your pet back in this situation, something that I didn't realize is you guys actually have mobile scanners.
yes.
So you can do that on the spot.
Yep. Yes, the ACO guys, our animal care or animal control officers, can go out into the field, and if they see a stray animal out there, they can scan it, and that dog or cat might just live 2 doors down, and they're able to go and return it instead of having to bring it out to the shelter where you possibly might not be able to find it.
Right, as a
So,
pet owner, that saves you
Yep.
time, money, all types of
Yeah.
things. Okay, great. Well, is there anything else, ladies, that you'd like to add that maybe I didn't ask you about? We covered it all.
Yeah, I think we covered everything.
All right, well, I want to thank you, Andrea and Jessica, both for being here today, sharing all this great information, and thank you both for everything you do for the county. We appreciate it. And thank you for joining us for this edition of Profiles on Pasco. I'm Tambry Lane. We'll see you next time.